While this video will not cover how to play Power Herald in all game modes of Guild Wars 2, I think it's safe to say that this playstyle is the most symmetrical between the different game modes of Guild Wars 2. That's because Revenant utility skills are well rounded due to the way they are balanced around having to choose an entire set of them instead of individual skills, and playing a Power Herald in both PvP and PvE uses the same weapons, same trait lines, and same set of legend stance skills. So if you're a PvPer and you like the roamer playstyle of a Power Herald, but there aren't always other players to fight, so you find yourself looking to other game modes, this is also a great playstyle for strike missions and raids that has the option to go for a full DPS role or even a heavy boon applying Quickness DPS. And in this video, I will go over how to build a Power Herald for endgame PvE, the skill priority, and how to play it in a real scenario. For equipment, I take full Berserker stats and the Scholar rune. You get to 100% critical chance easily from the Roiling Mist trait, so we can invest in full damage. Take 2 swords with Force and Air Sigil, and go for a staff with Energy Cleansing Sigil. Staff is used for mostly CC, but it's also great to swap to if you're under heavy pressure and want to survive. Although you can still auto attack in staff, don't think you're optimizing your damage by using Force sigils on a staff. For traits, take Devastation, Invocation, all the damage modifiers you can, and then if you're playing the Quickness variant, take Core Value for more boon duration, and Draconic Echo. The main mechanic you want to understand for this build is the Draconic Echo. Your facets in the Glint stance generate boons over time, but activating them gives out a powerful effect and stops the pulsing boons. With Draconic Echo, your facets continue pulsing for another 6 seconds, and on activation you will give out quickness. So you want to prioritize your facets to keep boons up on your allies, but your F2 is also a facet, and the passive and active effects it provides depends on the legend stance you're in. In Glint stance, it gives extra boon duration, and then activating it will extend all boons on your party by a few seconds. In the Shiro stance, it gives lifesteal to allies passively, and can be activated for a boon removal. However, because of Draconic Echo, these passive benefits will persist for 6 seconds after activation as well. This is mostly important for use with the Glint facet of nature, because you can get the value of the boon extension while still having increased boon duration for a short while after. This means that to get optimal quickness uptime for your team, you want to always have the Glint facet of nature passive while using your other facet actives, but you don't want to delay using the active for the F2 too long, or it will still be on cooldown by the time you need it again. So get your F2 passive going as soon as possible, and then use all of your facet actives besides the F2. Because the facets have differing cooldowns, you can afford to use the F2 active early and extend all of your boons and still get the passive bonus on your other facets' quickness. You can delay swapping legend stances if some of your facets will be off cooldown soon, but once they are all on cooldown, swap to Shiro stance because you can do more damage while waiting for those cooldowns. In Shiro, just channel Impossible Odds and keep auto attacking and casting your sword 2 off cooldown. Because you will be starved of energy while doing this, it's better to save your sword 4 and 5 skills for when you're in Glint stance, since you have much more energy access there. Swap back into Glint stance and start casting your facets when you have the F2 passive ready. The facet of strength gives you a damage boost for the next several seconds, and facet of elements does 3 pulses of high damage. So ideally you will use strength, then elements and chaos, and then use your 4 and 5 skill in sword to get the damage boost on your highest damage skills. However, your team's quickness uptime is the #1 priority, and delaying swapping back into Shiro stance will also be a loss in damage, so delaying your facets to use them in this order is not always ideal. The facet of light is a great tool as well because it can be used to survive high pressure situations by converting damage into healing. If you really need to save your Facet of Chaos for CC or your Facet of Light to survive, then you could just stay in Glint stance for longer without swapping to Shiro to maintain quickness and upkeep decent damage. Then swap to Shiro when you can fully unleash. Use the Staff 5 for CC. This obliterates break bars, so it's worth the loss of damage of swapping off sword if your team needs more CC. It also is an evade, and there's a block on the 3 skill, so staff can be used to survive in dangerous situations. Don't tunnel vision on damage and die, swap to staff if you're under extreme pressure. However, the sword 3 can also be used as an alternative evade frame and will follow your target. For the DPS variant, take Forceful Persistence and Rising Momentum. Since you don't need to provide boons, though you still will give a little bit, instead of using your facet actives immediately, you want to maintain the passives because they provide damage bonuses, so always keep your F2 passive going since it will give lifesteal in Shiro stance for extra damage, and upkeep the impossible odds while in Shiro stance. While in Glint stance, don't use the Facet of Light unless you need it for healing because the passive portion has a cast time. Instead of focusing on quickness uptime with the DPS role, you will focus on a burst combo. Start in Glint, and as per usual, try to use Sword 2 off cooldown, then channel the Darkness, Strength, and Elements facets. Then, when your Sword 4 and 5 are ready, cast the Strength active to get the damage bonus, throw Elements active out for the pulsing damage, then channel Chaos to get back the damage bonus you lost from the other facets, and use Sword 4 and 5, then swap to Shiro stance and use Impossible Odds. If at any point you're going to fully deplete your energy before you can Legend Stance swap, you can toggle off Impossible Odds or cast Facet of Darkness to reduce the energy load. If you fully deplete your energy, all your facets toggle off and you lose your damage bonuses until you can turn them back on. This is the Old Lion's Court strike mission on challenge mode. I'm playing the Quickness Herald variant, and this is going to be a little bit of a skip ahead because this fight can be a little bit long, but we use our Staff 5 to CC because it is the strongest CC in the game, and then we're going to use our facets to get quickness by getting a little bit of a head start here because we obviously aren't fighting the boss right now, so we've got time here, and that allows us to go into Shiro stance early, and we get a little bit of our cooldown of the Legend stance ready and some extra energy generated, and that allows me to do my sword burst while using Impossible Odds, because normally I wouldn't be able to use my weapon skills and Impossible Odds because I wouldn't have enough energy. So the precast there allowed me to do a bigger burst, and now we're going to give out the quickness, and the boss is going to do their mechanic. So we need to stay close to them, but a red is spawning underneath them. So I dodge, swap to my staff so I don't die. I block, and I get the tether. So I use the Staff 5 to bait the green tether inside the other red circles, and that gives us a lot of space conservation so that we can have a lot of space later on. So making those plays like that with the staff is really important to getting the maximum potential out of the Herald build. If you're camping your sword, then you're not really using it to its fullest potential. So here we're going to phase the first mob here, and now we've got to go on the green. I've got all of my quickness ready, so we're going to use those facets, and I use the F2 before the strength. I'm not really going for the full burst there while my team is getting pulled because I can't go in melee range. So I'm actually camping Glint here because I want to save my chaotic release to CC the red Watch Knight when it spawns. So I'm just camping the Glint, not going into Shiro yet, and I'm getting quite a bit of damage, so I'm going to use my Facet of Light. There's the red spawning. I use the CC, swap to Staff 5, use Jade Winds as well in Shiro stance to get the final CC, and I have to kite a green tether there, and I use my Staff 3, since I'm in Staff anyways, to block and conserve even more space. Now I'm back with the group, and I want to give them some quickness, so I use all of my facets from range and then I go into melee and start doing my sword burst again. So we're not giving out the most quickness while we're split from our team, but because we're using a more kind of like glint oriented rotation, we're still giving enough quickness to give up, you know, permanent quickness to our party. So yeah, depending on the situation, you know, you sometimes don't go into Shiro as much because the priority is to give out quickness. And now we just CC'd the last time. So we're going into the blue watch night phase. So we don't have to worry about staff too much now. And we can just focus the blue watch night, which is going to stand in the center of the room and push us away. And to prevent being pushed away, I can use the sword 3, which will lock me to the target, or the sword 5, which will port me to the target. So we have a lot of ways to just stay close to the boss here. And in general, I probably won't need to split up anyways, because unless I get the blue tether, I'll be able to just survive the orange circles by using blocks or my heal skill. We do take a lot of damage though from the orange circles if we don't dodge them. So we're just doing damage here. We got to dodge those orange circles, use my heal skill just in case, and I use my sword 5 to get in melee range while I'm getting pulled away. This is pretty much going to be a phase here because, yeah, we've got 1% left and we've got all of our team alive. So we're going to head into the last phase, which just requires us to kill the last 20%, but we have to CC. So I use my Jade Winds, Staff 5, and I can use Chaotic Release if I really need to, but we don't need to. So I'm going to use the facets here to give out quickness before we head into that last phase. I'm not going to precast the Shiro stance here, it looks like, because I stayed in a little bit longer. I wasn't really sure which mob would spawn where, so my confidence wasn't really there to do the burst. So I just waited and kind of took my time. But now we've got to stay in for the red mechanic. And that signals to me that I can do burst damage because I don't need to back away. So I go in Shiro stance and I do pretty much just auto attack, really, other than the sword 2. And now the red watch knight is pretty close to dying. I'm going to use my heal skill because I'm standing in the AoE there to be able to do damage because we want to finish off the red watch knight. And using the sword 3 there is a kind of risky play because we can't melee the boss, but we wanted to finish it off. So using that to evade while doing damage is pretty nice. You want to be careful with that because you can sometimes put yourself in bad positioning if like the boss moves into a not so safe position. So yeah, use the sword 3 wisely, but you can make some big plays with it if you do use it in the right situation. And now we've got to move away. I'm in the staff here because I'm playing a little bit safe. And I mean, we really don't need to try too hard to do damage here. We just need to survive and we'll win. So using the staff here it's a winning play, even though it's probably not needed. So we finish off the green watch knight and we just got to finish off the blue watch knight. And as before, we need to use our sword abilities to stay on top of the boss while it tries to push us away. But we were kind of separated from the blue watch knight because we were on the green and then the blue spawned. So our teammates went down and then we just go and revive them. So we're going to be fine here. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be the Old Lion's Court strike mission as the Power Herald. If you like this content, then like the video, subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.